Welcome to my July 15th briefing on the COVID-19 in our community. We at the city are working hard every day behind the scenes to assist this community throughout this public health crisis. We have all been adapting to changing circumstances, and it's important to recognize and prepare for the long haul. We're now in phase 2, and depending on how well we as a community follow masking and social distancing guidelines, we will be in phase 3 sometime in August or early September. But it's unlikely that we'll get into phase 4 and return to life as we know it with no restrictions in the near future. These challenging times continue to test us, and we have shown ourselves to be resilient and resourceful in finding ways to navigate our economic recovery. We are closely monitoring the metrics set by the state, and we're working with the board within the bounds of the guidance to find ways to support our small businesses, create opportunities for people to once again safely visit our favorite stores, eat from their favorite restaurants. We're finding adaptive ways to open our community which allow for physical distancing and maintaining safety of all small businesses, employees, and their customers. I am continuously heartened by the compassion I see and the community members leaning into these issues to work towards solutions. I'm in dialogue with business owners, community members, and concerned citizens on how we can best navigate this difficult situation together with public health and safety always at the forefront of my mind. With the public safety at the top of my mind, I must remind everyone that we're still in phase 2, and that means that it's not safe to travel outside the immediate community. Phase 2 allows for travel related to essential activities. Phase 1 and 2, permissible activities, but still strongly encourage you to stay close to home and in your immediate area. The county continues to see many cases over the last few weeks related to people traveling outside the county and out of state. We must be prepared for the long recovery period and remind ourselves that we're still in a pandemic. There are a total of 627 cases, 62 hospitalized people, and 17 deaths to date in Skagit County. We're seeing a surge right now in COVID-19 cases. It's time to remain vigilant. The community spread is happening in our county. Masks are mandatory. You must wear a mask whenever you're with people outside your immediate household. This means if you're visiting a family member's backyard, wear a mask. If you're dropping off some groceries to a neighbor or a friend, wear a mask. If you're going to dinner at a friend's house or babysitting your nephew, please still wear a mask. I know this has been an uncomfortable transition for all of us, and I want to be clear. This is a requirement that we all still are getting used to, and it's important to continuously reinforce and educate ourselves and those we come in contact with. We all need to wear a mask. This is something many of us have never done before, but now we all recognize what an important tool it is in protecting our community's health. Face coverings prevent us from unknowingly spreading the virus to others while we talk, when we cough, or we sneeze. Masks are effective in slowing the virus of COVID-19, especially combined with a 6-foot physical distance. There are 3 face covering orders in place. The Governor's Safe Start Order. The Department of Labor and Industries require employers to provide at no cost appropriate face coverings and masks that must be worn by all employees who don't work alone. And then finally, the Secretary of Health has ordered that all individuals wear a face covering in any indoor public setting or when outdoor and unable to maintain a 6-foot physical distance from others. The governor's statewide order has directed businesses to require and enforce the use of face coverings by all customers. Face coverings can be unsafe for some people with certain health and medical issues. Those individuals are exempt from the requirement. No one is required to provide proof or documentation about their health or medical status, except employers who may request medical documentation if an accommodation is requested by an employee. Children under the age of 2 should not wear face coverings. The governor's statewide order, which directs businesses to require and enforce the use of face coverings by all customers or clients, can be challenging to navigate. These new rules and requirements come with some of the best practices from the state. If a customer or a visitor is not wearing a face covering, an employee should politely educate the customer or the visitor about the public health requirement to wear a face mask or face covering. Businesses may supply a disposable mask to customers. If someone is unable to wear a face covering, businesses are encouraged to offer some kind of accommodation for customers, like curbside pickup or delivery. If a customer refuses to wear a face covering and does not have a medical condition or a disability that prevents them from wearing a mask, they cannot be served by that business. Please show compassion and understanding during these difficult times as our local businesses are going through this. Businesses that are reported for violating this order can be fined up to $10,000 or more. Please wear a mask out of compassion for your community, respect for your local business, and we're all in this together. The Washington State Department of Health and Governor Inslee evaluate a county's availability to move forward based on 5 metrics. A county must have fewer than 25 cases per 100,000 residents over 14 consecutive days. We currently have 73.5 cases per 100,000 residents, which is an increase since my report last week. A county must have greater than 50 individuals tested per each new case during the prior week. We're currently at 34.2 tests for each new case. The percentage of individuals testing positive must be less than 2%. We're currently at 2.9. The percentage of beds occupied in the county must be less than 80%. We're currently at 73%. And lastly, the percentage of those beds occupied by COVID-19 cases must be less than 10%, and we're currently at 3.3%. We are still currently meeting 2 of the 5 metrics set by the state. Under our current phase, many businesses reopened with restrictions. We're able to gather with 5 or fewer people who are not part of an immediate household per week, but any gathering of more than 5 is prohibited. If you're part of a high-risk group, it's still recommended that you continue to stay home as much as possible. We're experiencing rising cases in our community, and the state has made it clear this is an evolving situation. The governor announced yesterday he will continue to pause the Safe Start plan until July 28th at least, so no county in the state can move to the next phase or finally to phase 4. Some counties are facing going back to a previous phase. The increase in our cases in the county are contributed by the July 4th weekend with in and out county travel, large gatherings, and close contact with friends and extended family. When all of this began, the city worked hard to ensure that services would continue remotely and the residents could reach us with any questions about how to navigate these new processes. As we look ahead to phase 3, many of our services that have been virtual since March will begin to welcome in-person visitors for service. We hope to open in phase 3 sometime in August or September. When city's facilities reopen to the public, we will have signs to indicate proper physical distancing, plexiglass shields, and some new procedures for in-person services. During Phase 3, working remotely is still highly encouraged by the Governor's office, and a full return to in-person services will begin in Phase 4. I will continue to keep you informed about these changes throughout my community briefings. The city is developing an application so that those who have experienced financial hardships relating to COVID-19 can apply for a payment plan to assist in repayment of their utility bills. We want to work with you during this time, so if you need assistance paying your utility bill, please visit the City Hall utility billing page or call us for more information. Sales tax is one of the city's largest and most important revenue streams. Our community, like many of those around us, we're bracing for a 50% decrease in sales tax revenue. This would have been a substantial impact on the city's budget. That is why we have been very closely monitoring the sales tax revenue to understand how we can best prepare for revenue shortfalls. Thankfully, the sales tax revenues the past 3 months have been better than projected. Our May sales tax was down 21%, June was down 26%, and preliminary July sales tax information shows us down about 12%. While this is hard to say, revenue decreases of over 20% is good news. We can say that is due to the conservative budgeting and good stewardship of city funds during this year's sales tax revenues that are down less than 10% compared this year to date. This is a tribute to the strong leadership taken on by the department heads, and we want to continue to be prudent with the city's finances and adhere to spending restrictions enacted in March. During a typical year, we would be starting the biennial budget process. We gather data, make revenue projections, and look at staffing and equipment needs for coming years. Based on new circumstances, I am in discussion with the Finance Director and the Finance Committee to evaluate returning to an annual budget for 2021. We will be discussing this at our next council meeting, July 27th. This will give us an opportunity to just project over the next 12 months versus the next 24 months. Things have changed. COVID-19 has changed the way we plan and created a lot of uncertainty. The city strives to be dynamic in navigating the economic crisis brought on by COVID. One way we can be responsive is to continually change the nature of this pandemic is by creating this new yearly budget. The City Council and I had hoped to create an open street and plaza area in our central business district, open streets for this coming weekend, where Commercial Avenue would have been closed to vehicle traffic to allow for our shops and our restaurants to reach out into the streets. This type of event for economic recovery will have to wait until we're safely into Phase 3. Then this will allow us to safely shop, visit, and dine in a way that allows for greater physical distancing. You'll bring your mask and you'll venture downtown for some local flavors and enjoy unique shopping experiences. Closing the street and the broader use of the sidewalks will allow for more area for physical distancing, additional retail area, and more dining area while meeting safety and health guidelines. This, along with parklets and streeteries, will allow for an open-air experience on our Commercial Avenue streetscape in the Central Business District. We have been seeing people take advantage of our outdoor spaces more in recent weeks. We encourage people to get outdoors and use our parks and trails. Please remember to recreate responsibly. That means that for all the park department amenities that are open, there is still a requirement for strict social distancing per the governor's order. Masks are mandatory, and outdoor public areas, including public parks, trails, streets, sidewalks, and other recreational areas when a 6-foot distance cannot be maintained. At the end of June, Sally Hill retired as director of our Anacortes Senior Center. We are so thankful for her assistance through this transition, and our Parks Department is working hard to continue to plan what a Phase 4 reopening of the center may look like. Recently, we also said goodbye to a 15-year employee of the city, Heather Brennan. She retired on July 6th. Meanwhile, at the Senior Center, our Meals on Wheels program has been seeing a steady increase of clients, and we have been serving close to 1,500 meals monthly. This important service continues uninterrupted during these difficult times. Our library has been getting books orders ready for you as fast as you can place them. New books are starting to come in as well. This year, summer reading, as with everything else, is different, but our library staff has had lots of fun planned for you. If you haven't signed up for one of the summer readings yet, it's not too late. And for those younger readers that have been reading all summer, halfway prizes start Monday. Stop by the library during curbside hours to claim your own prize so you can create your very own story and adventure with an activity provided by the library. Tune into Pajama Story Time tomorrow night, and next week join the Anacortes High School librarian, Dana John, for a very special Tuesday tale. In case you did not know, every student in the Anacortes School District is entitled to a student library card. So if you don't have one or perhaps lost it, make sure to contact the library and we can get you a new one. The schools will look different this fall. The district is engaging students, staff, and families with options. They're working hard hand in hand with district leaders, employee bargaining groups, community stakeholders, school board members, families, and students to develop a hybrid model that will prioritize in-person learning for early learners, but a full-time K-12 remote option is also available. A community stakeholder group is also meeting regularly to set aside guiding principles and review decisions with an equity frame. The community stakeholder group includes myself and other representatives of the city, the port, Skagit County Health Department, Island Hospital, Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, the Anacortes Schools Foundation, the Samish Tribe, as well as parents and students. The district is committed to ensuring that for the school maintain a 6-foot social distancing during extended periods and teach and practice healthy hygiene and require face coverings for all students, staff, and visitors, and intensify their cleaning and disinfecting protocols and screen all students, staff, and visitors for symptoms and exposure. Canada and the United States have agreed to shut the border down on March 21st, allowing for trade and most business travel to continue while promoting recreational and non-essential trips. The two countries are working on ways to successfully incorporate public health concerns with security and efficiency. As crossing restrictions continue into midsummer, border communities are seeing the economic effects of the decrease in travel. Many ferry services are limited, restriction, or suspended, citing the ongoing restrictions and Canada's mandatory 14-day quarantine period for travelers arriving from abroad. The restrictions for crossing the border have been extended 3 times in 30-day increments, with the latest expiration date of July 21st. We expect this also to be extended. With federal CARES money, Skagit County was able to set aside $1 million in grant funds to support small businesses impacted by COVID-19. The grant funds are available for up to $25,000 depending on the number of employees. Applications are now being accepted through 5 p.m. on July 26. The program is intended for businesses located in Skagit County with 25 or fewer employees. The program is administered by the Economic Development Alliance of Skagit County on behalf of Skagit County. This is yet another opportunity for small businesses to receive funds to assist during these times of uncertainty. Island Hospital has tested 2,574 people with a total of 42 positive cases, 8 positive hospitalized cases, and there have been no deaths. Island Hospital continues to be an important partner in our community working to beat COVID-19. The testing site at Skagit Valley College has been going strong and reaching a new record high of testing 597 people on Monday, July 13th. The county continues to receive questions about how they think they should be tested. If you're worried that you've been exposed to COVID-19, you should immediately quarantine. After waiting 5 to 7 days, you should come and get tested Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So far, there have been 13,000 tests administered, with 244 coming back positive. Globally, we've reached 13 million cases and over 570,000 people have died in the United States. We are reaching nearly 3.4 million cases and over 135,000 deaths in Washington State. We currently have 42,000 cases and 1,400 people that have lost their lives. So I misspoke. I'm going to start that one over. Globally, we have nearly 13 million cases and 575 people have died. In the United States, we've had 3.4 million cases and 135,000 deaths. In Washington State, we currently have had 42,000 cases with 1,399 people who have lost their lives. The truth is that these numbers are continuing to rise across the world and here at home. We cannot let down our guard. It is the time for us to reestablish our commitment to defeating this virus and protecting the people we care about most. So now I come to the questions and answers, and I have one question today. Do I have to wear a mask in a park? Per the governor's order, masks are mandatory in all outdoor public areas, including public parks, trails, streets, sidewalks, and other recreational areas when a 6-foot distance cannot be maintained. That means if you're meeting a friend at the park, you'll need to wear a mask when you're with them. Or if the park has several people walking around and visiting you, you will need to wear a mask. So this morning, as I was briefed by the Skagit County Health Department, along with the county commissioners and the other county mayors, it became a disheartening meeting. As the health department reported that COVID-19 cases had jumped from 54.9 cases per 100,000 to 73.5 cases per 100,000 overnight. The reality of this means recommitting to safe practices, and this just became imperative in my mind. We have worked so hard to get to phase 2, and then over the last 3 weeks, we have lightened our resolve. And during the 4th of July holiday, many people traveled in and out of the county or the state, attended large gatherings, or had close contact with friends or extended families, and our cases have increased. COVID is a virus, and we must prevail. This is nothing like we've experienced in our lifetime. It is challenging us in ways we could never have imagined. The emotional, economical, and physical strain is disorienting as we deal with the uncertainty. At no time in the last century have we all had to transition simultaneously in our community, our state, our nation, and the world with a challenge we never expected. We have been brought closer together by these disabling events, and we've had to stay home, and we've connected in new ways, and our long-established habits and routines have had to change dramatically. But through all this transition, we've seen kindness and we've seen creativity. Our community has responded to this pandemic by caring for each other, by finding ways to support people who we've only seen in passing, but now we share with them something uniting, a desire for a safe, healthy community. We're all going through different things, but collectively, this transition has presented us all with opportunities to re-examine and rebalance our lives. We are all in this for the long haul, but I believe that one day when there's just a tinge of normalcy appears, we'll arrive at phase 4 and we will be much stronger together. We are ready to face whatever challenges are ahead because we are Anacortes. Thank you for being with me today, and take care until next week.